Hi, I'm Rebecca. I'm the Psych coach, and today I'm going to be talking to you about how you can get motivated. If you're motivated, chances are you're going to maintain healthy behaviours, but getting into a habit of maintaining consistency and keeping up healthy behaviours and new things that you want to maintain is tricky if you don't have motivation. It's even more tricky if you don't have motivation at the very start. So listen up as I give you 5 tips to talk you through getting motivated. Tip number 1 is to do mental contrasting. Mental contrasting is a strategy used in functional imagery training, which is a form of psychology that's often used a lot in sports performance. Mental contrasting is where you think about how well will this behaviour serve me over the next week? How well will it serve me over the next month, over the next year? What will life be like if I'm still behaving like this in 2 years' time? The idea of mental contrasting is you start with the negative, so you remind yourself of what it's going to be like if you're not motivated and you're not doing the behaviours you want to change in the next week, month or year, and you then flip it to, and what would it be like if I have changed my behaviours over the next week? What would it be like if I kept that up and I changed it over the next month and they were still being consistent? What would it be like if this time next year I'm still as motivated as I am and I'm doing the things that I wanted to be doing to change my lifestyle? Think about how good that will make you feel, and that mental contrasting is usually a really good precursor to getting yourself motivated psychologically. Tip number 2 is to remind yourself that motivation doesn't come knocking. By that I mean motivation won't suddenly dawn on you. You won't suddenly sit there and think, aha, now is the moment where I feel incredibly motivated to do the thing that I've been putting off. Think about going to the gym. Very rarely, if someone sat chilling out, watching TV, very rarely do they suddenly get a boost of, aha, now is the moment where I feel ready to go to the gym. Motivation typically comes once you start engaging in the activity you're probably putting off. Once you start engaging in the activity, you might not like it, but usually the chemicals in your brain get going. You're able to think about, yeah, this is going to feel really good once I've finished, and then you're more likely to carry out the task. So remember that it's pointless to wait for motivation. Do the activity and trust that the motivation will come once you're doing the activity. Tip number 3 is to do small steps for goal attainment. Any major change requires small steps. It's really frustrating if you think, I want to lose X amount of weight by this time next year. I want to lose X amount of weight by my summer holiday. And you get so focused on that, all the small targets and progress that you set in between may feel pointless. And of course, if it feels pointless, and if you're thinking, well, this isn't any good, I need to be losing, kilos and kilos. What's the difference of half a kilo over a week? It's not going to motivate you. So break your goal up into small steps. There is so much evidence to show how breaking things down into smaller steps helps achieve greater outcomes. The Great British Cycling team managed it in their historical progress. People have managed to succeed it with weight loss in a slow and steady way. Think about people who've achieved great things, but who clearly haven't done it overnight. That's the mindset you need to be in. Small changes that lead to big outcomes. Tip number 4 for maintaining motivation is to celebrate your wins. The problem with only focusing on the big goal at the end is making the progress in the small steps won't feel particularly wonderful. But that's the stuff you need to be celebrating, because every time you do well at something, every time you say no to something that you wanted to eat but you didn't, every time you go to the gym, every time you do that bit more study that you know you should be doing but that you haven't been, you need to pat yourself on the back and congratulate you, because it's that patting on the back, it's that kind of congratulations that motivates you. Think about when people are running a marathon, time and time again, people will say, it was the crowd that got me through. You basically need to become your own cheerleader. You need to pat yourself on the back, and for all the bits of progress that you make, give yourself a cheer, because that cheer is a motivator. And tip number 5 is to focus on your daily progress. That means at the end of each day thinking, yeah, okay, I did okay here. Or maybe it's a case of thinking, maybe I didn't do so well here. But by having a very brief daily review of how you've been doing with your desired behaviour change, how you've been doing on your motivational levels, will either ensure consistency, because you can think, right, I need to do more of what I'm doing, or it will stop you from floundering, because you're going to think, okay, well, I didn't do what I was meant to do today. What do I need to do tomorrow to ensure that I get back on track again? It's perfectly fine to deviate. If you end up having a couple of days where you're not motivated, fine, but then get back on track. The quicker you get back on track, the quicker and more likely you are to achieve your goal. But you've therefore got to stay focused on your daily progress. Keep your eye on the prize, but the daily progress is the stuff you should be focusing on, because that's the stuff you can amend and think, how should I do it differently tomorrow? Or maybe I need to do much of the same tomorrow. It is difficult to stay motivated. Our motivation fluctuates dependent on what we're doing, how we're feeling, I don't know what's going on in our general lives. But putting those 5 strategies into place will really help to boost your level of motivation and help you try and act more consistently with the desired behaviour changes you want to implement in your life. If you've enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will give you plenty more tips on how you can use psychology in your day-to-day life.